Hello there everybody, this is Reggie Time here and we're going to be looking at some PLO 25 hands I played today, not with the intention of it being a training video for anybody. I certainly wouldn't consider myself capable of teaching anybody PLO outside of the basic game mechanics, but more just to check some things myself, just get some thoughts out there and hopefully get some feedback from some genuine PLO players on some of my thought processes, why I've done some of the things I've done, just to give you an idea of how I've been approaching the games so far. I mean, pretty damn nitty, to be fair. The games seem to be soft enough. I think there's definitely a decent number of regs in the games that are better than me. I think there's absolutely plenty of recreational players in the games that are worse than me, and I believe that when I'm two-tabling the games, I have a decent edge in them, and that's without me being a particularly adept pot limit or heart player. So you're not going to see too many unusual hands during this. I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 hands to go through, and they're all going to be, big hands, if you will. There's not going to be very much of the 5, 6, 7, 8 double suited in there, because I've kind of not been playing too many of them. I've been wanting to play hands pre-flop that flop really well and flop nutted stuff. I don't want to be, while I'm just getting to grips with the game, having to deal with too many like non-nut draws and just having to figure things out that, to be frank, I'm not ready to be figuring out. I kind of want to learn how to play the big hands first and how to play the big draws. So just see what's going on in the games before I start adding more complexities to it. So that's kind of where I'm at with it at the moment. So let's go through this first hand, and I don't remember like which order they're going to come in. So we'll be looking at them. I'm going to mute that because of noise. And we'll be looking at them kind of with a fresh pair of eyes almost. So what's going on here? I've opened the Ace, Queen, 10, 5 with a suit from middle position. This has been pretty much my standard open. It's a hangover from my no limit hold'em setup. I'm not sure it's good or bad. It certainly allows me to call more 3-bets without the pots getting really big. I've been trying to keep pots relatively small pre-flop, unless I kind of get the chance to put a huge 4-bet in, with aces or something like that. So I've been trying to keep pots relatively small pre-flop, but at the same time, I'm aware there's more 3-betting in PLO than there is in no limit hold'em. And there's more reasons to want to call. So I've been trying to make my raises a little bit smaller, which allow me to call more 3-bets. That's kind of the logic behind the smaller opens. So that could be good, could be bad, who knows. Excuse me. But anyway, obviously we're going to elect to call this, otherwise it'd be a pretty shitty boring hand. So we're going to go in multi-way by the looks of things. So we call with the 3 broadways and flush draw, and we flop top 2 pair. So can't remember what I did here. I think I donked, and I think if I didn't donk, I think I like donking. It's a very dry board. It's going to be pretty unlikely we're going to be behind here. You would imagine. You'd imagine we've just sucked out on aces, we've just sucked out on kings. If someone's 3-betting us with a bunch of high cards, we've got them in quite a lot of trouble with our little dangler kicker there. Not entirely sure how my equity looks against just a bunch of high cards that's got a queen. I don't know. That's the bottom line of it. I don't know. But I think donking here is going to be way better than checking. I don't think we're going to get a check raise in too often on this board texture in a multi-way pot. So I think I like donking. I don't know if I did donk. And looking at the pot size now, I think I'd like to see me donk for a pretty much pot, I think, or close to it. And I checked, so I don't like that for a start. But I think we get bailed out. So we've been bailed out by the original 3-better here. And at this point, I mean, we block aces a little bit, but I still think he's probably going to have aces at this point. So I think just jamming here is easily going to be the best play. It's super unlikely he's going to have any sets. We block top set. We block middle set. People really 3-betting with pocket 2s. So I think it's just a jam now. I think we've been bailed out. I think looking back on the hand now, I'd much rather see me lead out in this pot. Don't know if that's good or bad, but I think we have to jam now. We did jam. He obviously calls. And we struck out, I think. And then he wins the second one. I think that's how it goes down. Because he just somehow managed to have like the 9-9-5-5, which, I don't know. I mean, to me, that seems like a really bad 3-bet pre-flop from him. He was a regular too. Well, he had regularish stats anyway. So I think my play is fine in that hand. I'm not convinced by his play. We're not here really to talk about his play in general. But I don't know. Is that standard? Is it not standard? It doesn't seem standard to me. It seems like we're entitled to consider ourselves unlucky. If we'd lost that pot when we flopped top 2 in a 3-bet pot, in that board texture, I think we can consider ourselves unlucky if we're behind. We were behind, we sucked out. I'm not going to beat myself up too much about it. I think I played the hand okay. I'd rather have seen myself lead out on the flop, but it was just a kind of, it's just a cooler, isn't it? So we'll move on to the next one. This hand we have not the most stellar hand. I don't know if we can. I think we have to play this pre-flop. We've got like 3 high cards to a straight. We've got 2 suits. So we'll just min-raise some other position. I don't remember anything about the player. I think some guys would consider 3-betting here, but because as I talked about earlier, I've been trying to keep pots small pre-flop and then hoping to play well post-flop. That's kind of been my strategy so far. I'm sure tons of guys would want to 3-bet this hand, which I would probably have no issue with. It's just not. It's never been my style as a player to blow things pre-flop anyway. I think PLO's much more of a post-flop game, so I don't think we need to be 3-betting these hands. I mean, maybe lots of people are doing it. Do I think we need to? I personally don't think we do, but I'm certainly happy to hear other people's thoughts on that. But for me, PLO is definitely more of a post-flop game than a pre-flop game, and I'd rather keep pots small, especially when I'm in position with a hand that can make all kinds of nuts. Well, not all kinds of nuts, but we can make lots of nut straights and some nut flushes and things. So we flop and open and straight draw. No, sorry, is it a wrapper? That might even be a wrapper. I'm not entirely sure what a wrap is, but that might be one. So we can hit any 9. A jack wouldn't give us the nuts. A king wouldn't give us the nuts. So only the 9 gives us the nuts. But we have the open ender and like some extra straight draws. Don't know if it's a wrap or not. I'm not entirely sure of the terminology, but it's a good flop for us, which is kind of what we need to know. So we bet when it checks to us, which I think is fine. We get called, and then we turn the nuts, and he leads into us for half pot. I don't remember this hand again. It's like I'm seeing it for the first time. I think I need to raise here for sure. On this board texture, I think the problem with raising is we might be getting free rolled. So I guess that's the other side of it. Do we call and then just look to get it in on rivers that don't bring a flush and don't pair the board, or do we just raise now? I think we raise now and get it in. I mean, we only have get it in shopping. Does Jack 8 ever just bet call it off here? We could get value certainly from Ace X of Hearts that's got like a Jack or a King in it. It's got not like some kind of like nut flush draw plus cut shot. I don't know. I think the only reason I don't like raising, I don't think, is because the chances of getting free rolled, which is maybe that's something that I'm overestimating. I still think overall I'd like to see me raise here. I think I did raise, but I'm not sure. I think just pot it here, and then if he goes all in, we call, expecting to be chopping most of the time and getting free rolled some of the time, I would guess. But I think that's going to be better than just calling. So we do pot it, and he folds. So yeah, I'm not sure about that hand. Do we just always have to raise there? If we do raise there and get it in, are we always going to be in rough shape? Or not always, but are we going to be in relatively rough shape? I don't know. Kind of feels like if we raise and he jams, he's always going to have the King Jack, and he's sometimes going to have hearts with it, but that might just be me being a little bit paranoid and monsters under the bedish. Move on to the next hand. We've got the suited ace with the 9-8 queen on the button. Limp, limp, I squeeze the 2 limpers, not expecting to get any folds. We don't get any folds. And we just flop 1 pair. I kind of remember this one. There's no value in raising here, I don't think. We have a gut shot. We have top pair, top kicker. And I think why I've boomed this hand, or why I've put this hand in to take a look at was, do we raise this flop? Because it's such a small bet. Basically, based on the bet size. If he'd led out for, I don't know, anything around 3/4 pot, I think it's a super standard call. Maybe even fold. Given that we've only got top pair and a gut shot, I don't think I would fold. I think I'd always call and see at least the turn. It'd be nice if we had the ace of diamonds, so we could block some nut flush draws and give ourselves a chance to bluff sometimes on later streets. But against this particular size, I think the question here is, do we raise or do we just call? And I think I elected to just call. If I didn't, I'm not going to be happy with myself, because I think just calling is easily going to be the best play here. So I did just call, and I turned an open ender. Check, and it checks through. And then we get to the river and it leads out. And I think the first question is, should I bet the turn when we turn some more equity? In no limit hold'em, that'd be a super easy bet. A super easy bet. But in pot limit home, I'm not so sure. Yeah, we picked up some extra equity. But are we going to get through 2 players? Can people I think they can have all kinds of 2 pairs here that just aren't folding. Literally any of the 2 pairs. So if we get called, we're going to suck out sometimes. We're going to have the best hand sometimes. We're going to be a bet for thin value. Not so much protection. I don't know. Should the turn be a bet? Can we go back and just have a look at it again? So it checks to us here. Bollocks. So here, should we bet here at this point? At 6.35 in the pot. How often are we going to get through 2 players at this point? We just have top pair, top kicker, and we have the open end straight draw. But the jack doesn't give us the nuts. The 6 gives us the nuts, I think, does it? But the jack doesn't give us the nuts, because if the jack comes, then ace king would be the nuts, which seems unlikely someone could have it, but who knows? It doesn't feel like anyone should have ace king in this spot very often. But we've only got one side of the draw to the nuts. And then the river comes and he bets, and I think I just fold here. I think I played this hand a little bit too weak, or it feels like I played it too weak. It feels like we could have raised a flop, feels like we could have bet the turn, feels like we could have called the river. So it feels like I played it too weak, but at the same time, I don't hate any of my choices, because if he's value betting here, it's super unlikely we have the best hand. I mean, he could be bluffing missed diamonds, I guess. He could be bluffing some missed straight draws, like 4-6, some 9-8, 2 some gut shots and things. I don't know if we should be bluff catching there or not. We're going to be getting a decent enough price on the call. We're going to have to call, 275 to win 9. So we're not getting the worst price in the world to call. It feels like that whole hand, I just played it a little bit weakly. But I'm not sure if there was at any point where ticking like a call on the river or a bet turn or a raise flop. I'm not sure any of those have been really super good. So who knows? That hand just felt a little bit there. Not really sure what went on with it. Not happy with how I played it, but you know what? That's why we're playing the game. That's why I'm trying to learn, trying to review these spots, think about them myself, hopefully get some feedback on some of them, and just help me moving forward. So we move on to the next hand. We have pretty moderate hand in the big blind. Don't remember this one off the top of my head. So I think we have a pretty easy set mine here. I guess we do anyway. What are we getting? We're getting over 3-1 on our money. We don't have the best. I mean, the 5's awful, but we have a suited king queen, which can be useful, and obviously we have the chance to set somebody if there's some smaller pairs are in there. So I think the call's completely standard. I think squeezing would be horrible. Yeah. So right, probably shouldn't have shown that straight away, but this flop, when we flop middle set and nut flush draw, I want to start building a pot. If someone's got 2 aces, well, we're going to have an absolute ton, not ton of equity against 2 aces. We're going to, the worst shape we can probably be in here is obviously set over set, but we have the flush draw to bail us out. So I'm willing to build a big pot here and just get all the money in. And if I'm on the wrong side of set over set, well, I'm on the wrong side of set over set. Equally, we could be set over setting on our favour against probably much more likely player 5 than player 4. But we could also have a set over set situation in our favour too. So I'm very much like leading out here. I think in no limit hold'em, if we flop this strong, we'd almost certainly go for a check raise. But in pot limit Omaha, I think just when we like our hand, when we really, really like our hand, I think just starting putting money in the pot and seeing what happens seems like a good strategy to me. We got the 2 folds, so I think I put that one in for, is check raising better there than leading out? And I'm happy with my lead out still. I didn't remember if both eyes folded or not. Clearly they did, which is could make me a little bit result orientated. If could check raising be better, but if neither of them have got anything they can call a lead with in that flop, it's probably unlikely that either of them were going to stab. And if they were going to stab, they were just going to be bluffing. So we'd maybe have managed to check raise over one smallish bet or something, but I don't think it would have been a huge money winner. So yeah, I'm happy enough with that hand. But obviously the rest of the hands, I'd be delighted to get any feedback on them. Aces. We have the ace with 2 horrible side cards. But we do have a suited ace, at least. We have an ace suit. So again, we've done small open, 3-bet, cold 4-bet. I'm not really sure what I'm looking at here. This might have sneaked in by mistake, so if it has, I apologise. Let me see if we jam. Oh, close to jam. We thought top set. I'm really no idea where I put this hand in. It seems incredibly trivial. Who knows? That could have been where I put it in. I put it in just to demonstrate that there is plenty of bonkers players in this pool. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think this guy was a recreational player, degen. Who knows what he was? He was a gambler. I think he probably was a gambler. I don't know if I would have hated it. I don't think I hate his squeeze pre-flop with that hand. I guess double suited. But once I 4-bet, I mean, obviously he should just fold. I guess he should just fold anyway. Who knows? But yeah, we put that one in just for, in my opinion, showing how bad some of the players are in this pool. Someone might turn around and say he hasn't played it terribly. I very much doubt it. Looks like he's played it absolutely horrendously to me. So anyways, move on. Nothing particularly interesting about that. So first question here, I guess, is going to be, versus under the gun, do we 3-bet with double suited kings? I mean, the side cards are pretty shit in terms of helping us make any hands, but they're decent in terms of that we have 2 flush draws. So do we 3-bet there first and foremost? Yes or no? I haven't been 3-betting very much at all in these games, so this would be very standard. This would be absolutely in keeping with my strategy so far. But would this actually be a 3-bet? I think the reason I didn't 3-bet is because I didn't want to open myself to a 4-bet. Because I think if we get 4-bet here, we're just going to be up against aces nearly all the time, or most of the time. And I'd rather just not be up against aces and get 4-bet. I think maybe we could 3-bet and get called and maybe play some poker post flop. So it's not like we're always just going to get 4-bet. They're always going to have aces, of course. But who knows? Maybe sometimes we get 3-bet by people who've got really good rundowns and 4-bet, and who knows? I don't know. I've been enjoying keeping the pot smaller, whilst I'm not that certain about pre-flop ranges especially. So yeah, I don't mind that. But then we get squeezed by the big blind, who I didn't know an awful lot about because I haven't got many hands on anybody. I haven't got more than 100 hands on most players. I don't remember anything specific about this player. So the question here is, when it gets on us, do we now just call again? Do we just say fuck it and jam because there's tons of money already in the pot and we're only 100 blinds deep? Do we fold? Do we just say one of these guys probably has aces and We only have 2 kings, so do we fold? I don't know. I really don't know. This was like a spot where my head was just spinning. I didn't know what to do here. I thought all 3 options had merit. I thought jamming was going to be spewy. I didn't like jamming much at all, but kind of thought if we get it in 3 ways with kings, is there a chance we're going to get it in all in 3 ways with kings? If there's a chance we're going to get it all in 3 ways with kings, do we then have enough equity with 2 kings in pot limit Omaha with like double suited kings to get it in against assuming one of them's got aces? Again, don't know the maths of that. Kind of feels now like I wouldn't mind getting it all. If we're going to get it all in, who knows? Maybe they both have aces too, which would be, I'm assuming, quite good for us. So I don't know. I think more I think about it, the more I think jamming can't be terrible, but we're just going to run into aces most of the time. Can we just call here and then just, I don't know, set mine and like flush draw mine, if you will. And the one thing I did notice at the time, and I'll be honest with you, I butchered this hand. You're going to see how I butchered it in a moment. I looked at his stack size and I was like, I'm going to call here, then he jams, and it's going to be a massive clusterfuck. And I kind of wanted to fold, but I got a bit confused, and my time back was going down, and I just clicked call, which in hindsight I think is pretty horrible. Then he jams. What the fucking hell do we do here, you know? I'm getting 3-1 pre. I was getting a really good price pre-flop, but I'm like, obviously someone has to have aces here. So then, like, is there enough dead money in this pot to compensate me against aces? And now I'm like, I'm 99.9% sure that I should have called. I fucked this up and I folded. I'm 99.9% sure this should be an absolute trivial snap call. If I could have my time back again here, I would fist pump call. Well, not fist pump, that's wrong, but I would definitely call. Because I just think we're going to be getting the right price to draw out on 2 aces here. Given that imagine he has aces and these 2 like don't have aces. We surely have enough equity just to flick the rest of our money in here. So I think I made a mistake by folding. I think I made quite a big mistake too. But yeah, we live and learn. I did fold, which, like I said, completely fucked the hand up. And yeah, if we just take a look at the hands that turned up, do we get to see them? And this is just it. I have no idea how my equity shapes up here. I probably need to find like a decent equity calculator. But if people are getting it in with like these hands, putting all kinds of extra money in the pot, I mean, it's obvious one of them had aces, almost certainly player 2. But yeah, I think I should definitely have called there. But I mean, let's just look at the money. Look at the hands these guys are prepared to get it all in pre-flop with. I don't know. Is getting it all in with like a decent rundown like that hand, 7, 8, 9, 10. Is that okay? I mean, who knows? Doesn't seem like it is to me. I'm not sure he's played his hand particularly well here, but maybe it's standard. I don't know. But I think I should absolutely have called it off. But never mind, I didn't. If we're going to play results, don't think I would have won, so we'll play results on that one, I think. So here we have 2 aces and 2 5s. We get a really small 3-bet. And then, yeah, this was a question here, actually. When I 4-bet here, I can't make a huge 4-bet because the 3-bet from player 1 is so small, and I think like most I can make is like $6 or something, I think it was, or maybe more, but relative to stacks, it wasn't great. I mean, he's got us all covered, but we're close to 200 blinds deep here, not far off 200 blinds deep. And my question here is, because we've got like such shit side cards, should we ever just call here, try to keep the pot small, and rather than turn our hand pretty much face up as 2 aces, and then be out of position, you know, we're still whatever there's going to be behind, you know, $40, so what's that? 170 odd blinds behind still, I think, is it? Something like that. We're still going to have like loads and loads of like money behind with a hand that's pretty face up and one that isn't going to improve very often. So my question here is 4-betting always the right thing to do here? I think I did end up 4-betting, but I remember tanking at the time thinking, you know, should I just call here or should I 4-bet? I mean, if I could make, if there's no limit, I mean, obviously it's going to be a really easy 4-bet. You know, I'd just make it like $10 or something and not give a fuck. But we can't, it's pot limit. And that the most we can make it was $6.75. I clicked the pot button. That's what it made it. So when we can only make it $6.75 and we still leave such a lot of money behind, should we really be 4-betting here? And that's the question. Because we're probably going to end up going call, maybe. I think this hand does end up getting called 4 ways, but we're now going to get called almost certainly at least one spot, and probably more than one spot, with a hand that we know it's like the nuts now, if you will, but it's just super unlikely to improve. You know, it's a good chance some of these guys are blocking my setouts with the aces or with the 5s. And do I really want to make a wheel? Not really. I mean, I wouldn't say no to it, of course, but you know, if it comes down 2, 3, 4, we would block a lot of shit. It'd be nice to make a wheel. It's not very likely. So my question here was, should I just have called, or is 4-betting correct? Given that we can't make it really big. I mean, 100 blinds deep, I think 4-betting is going to be much better. But given that we are much deeper, is calling going to be better there? We end up getting called in 3 spots and we completely break the flop. And I do believe I just check folded. I don't even know what the result of this hand was, to be honest with you. We would have turned the set. I wasn't aware we would have turned the set. But anyways, that would have made no difference because we were in trouble. So yeah, that was that one. So the question from that hand, if you're going to give me any feedback, is 4-betting pre-flop. Given we can only make it like just over 10% of our stack, in like effective stack sizes, should we be turning our hand face up when we can only get 10% of our stack in pre-flop, or maybe just over 10% of our stack? Feels like maybe we shouldn't, but who knows? I'm certainly happy to be advised on that one. Just 2 more hands to go. We have a very pretty hand in the big blind here with the ace, 10, queen, jack. Not sure what happens here, presuming I raise. Calls. Yes, remember this one now. We've locked top pair, top kicker. We see bet, obviously. He calls. This guy was a fish. This guy had like a 70% VPIP. He was very, very loose passive. And I think I made a mistake here by betting this turn. Yeah, we picked up equity with my flush draw. But I think this is a spot maybe to check call. Some straights get there, lots of 2 pairs get there. He can have sets. I think this is 2. I bet here, and I'll explain what happens. I bet he gets it, and he pots it after I bet, and he kind of just freezes me out of the hand. And my question here is this bet too thin? You know, when I lead out for $2.50 into that $4 pot, is this too thin? I mean, he can absolutely call with worse, of course he can. Well, I guess he can anyway. He can have some worse 10s sometimes, I guess. Who knows what? I mean, he was a fish here, like 70/something VPIP. And in no limit hold'em again, this would be a super easy bet. If we just had like just the ace 10 here, you'd be like, yeah, definitely bet again for value. But this isn't no limit hold'em, this is pot limit Omaha. And he can absolutely have all kinds of straights here. He can have 2 pairs. All kinds of 2 pairs. And it felt, when I made the bet, it was kind of like, I regretted it. When as soon as you raised, it was like, no. All we've done here is we've allowed someone to blow us off, you know, a reasonable amount of equity here. Because I think he just potted it. And then we can't call that one. I don't think we can call. We're going to have to put another, $8 into the pot. We're not even getting 3 to 1. Yeah, if we hit our heart, I guess we might get paid by him. But yeah, I wasn't happy with that. I just froze myself out of the pot. And basically, is that turn bet too thin? I mean, I could be playing results again because I do turn a flush draw, like top pair and a flush draw. But when we get raised, my top pair's worthless. So I'm kind of betting for thin value with my top pair and kind of semi bluffing with my flush draw. But when we get raised like this, I don't know. I think I've kind of enabled him to freeze me at the pot. I've fucked myself up by betting, basically, I think. And I could be wrong. Maybe I haven't. Maybe betting's completely standard and I'm just being result orientated again because we got raised and we had to fold. I mean, do we have to fold here? Given we've got the nut flush draw. can we consider calling and just always donk jamming when we hit our flush on the river? With the view of check folding here when we don't hit our flush. Would that be burning money? Would we just be burning $8 there? Or are we super likely to get paid if the flush comes? With the flush coming in the back door, if he does have like the 7-5 here, is he going to just pay me on the river if like the deuce of hearts comes or something that doesn't change, like the fact he's got the nut straight? So again, could we call here? Is betting fine? Given we bet and we've been raised, can we call? Or should we just fold? Should we just check call the turn? That's the question from that hand. Move on to the last one. We've got 2 kings with some pretty poor side cards. We isolate a limper. We get called and we get called again. And we really dry board. I'm pretty sure this is a super standard C bet. Which I make. We get called. And this is a weird spot. He just like leads out for pot here. And we've just I think our overpair is no good at this point. Maybe we could suck out sometimes if he's somehow got 2 pairs. But I'm not sure what 2 pairs of 6 gives him. I mean, I guess the 6 can give him all kinds of different 2 pairs. You could have a hand like, I don't know, Ace, Queen, Jack, 6, for example, and just decide that he likes the fact he's made 2 pair and just wants to bomb it to protect against like the extra draws that have appeared with the 6 on the turn. It didn't make sense. He did it pretty quick. He like snap donked for full pot. Excuse me. Which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I timed out in this hand. I'll be honest, I was thinking, I didn't know what to do. Is it raise, fold, call? I think, again, all 3 options are more than reasonable. Again, with the flush, if we get theirs coming in the back door, might make it easier for us to get paid if we do hit a flush, especially if he has got, you know, like a set or something that he's decided to slow play on the flop. I don't think he would slow play a flop on the set and then just lead the turn very often. So I'm not that sure how the 6 helped him. And I was kind of trying to weigh up what was better here between calling and jamming. And I think I was erring more towards calling with a view to just folding the river and improve. Because I didn't think I'd fold equity. I think when someone just like leads out for full pot on the turn, I didn't think going through my head that my like subconscious or whatever it was, my instincts, whatever it is that kind of saying we don't have fold equity here. So I was torn between, do I still jam anyway because we've got reasonable pot equity? Because we do have a gut shot too. We got like a gut shot on the second nut flush draw. Is that enough equity to just jam with and not care when he calls? Or is calling here and then always folding when we don't improve on the river? Is that a better line? So there's my 2 options. I don't think I ended up timing out and folding, but because my time back had run out and I hadn't noticed. So I don't know. I think folding's not the play. I mean, maybe folding is the play. Who knows? Maybe my timeout saved me. But I was thinking, to be honest, there's no point lying when I'm doing these things. I'm trying to get advice. I was thinking through the options of jamming or calling, and I was erring towards calling with the view to folding unimproved. But yeah, let me know what you think of that one too. So if you want to go back, if you want to ask me about any of the hands, more of my thought processes, please do. But I've kind of, hopefully, I've got all my thoughts out as best as I can. And I'm kind of just looking for a little bit of feedback here on how I played some of the hands. I mean, if you are a skilled PLO player, I'd be delighted to hear from you. If you're a learning PLO player, I'd be delighted to hear from you too. I'm just looking for feedback really on, well, 2 things. Number 1, is this a good format for making a video? Would this work for No Limit Hold'em too? I think it might do. Reviewing hands through the boom player from a session. Is all sorts of different hands. And number 2, yeah, give me some feedback on the hands I've played, how I played them, and any different lines you would have taken. I'd be super delighted to hear them. But for now, that is the last hand. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed reviewing them, and yeah, we'll be back with another video soon, and have a good weekend, everybody.